Hey, good evening, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Cliff, good evening. Greg, good evening. How are you, buddy? Appreciate you guys being along with me tonight. Kevin, Michael, on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. What a really nice night, isn't it? Hey, Bernie. Sir Lancelot, how you doing, bud? Let me change my resolution here so I can... Oh, look at that. I can see so much better now. Hey, Johnny, you did get a signal from just outside of Andy's. No Angler Quest? Oh, no, not going to go live on the Angler Quest tonight because I'm going to be fishing on it tomorrow morning. Billy. Michelle. Who is that? Patrick. Jim. No tour of the new boat tonight. Here's what I was thinking. The reason I was going to go out to the boat tonight is so I could kind of get some things ready to go fishing tomorrow morning, but then I wouldn't be able to get my work done today. So I thought, no, we don't need to hear that again. Oh, we're not. Okay. So it made more sense for me to stay home, get my work done, and just go out to the boat early tomorrow morning and get some things tied up and ready to rock. So that's what I'm doing. But I'll be posting some pictures and some video from the water tomorrow. Hey, Sean, how are you? Congrats again. Sean's vet took the biggest fish in the Walleye for Warriors event on Sunday. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Hello, Mike. Mike, I expected to see you Sunday at Linwood Beach for Walleye for Warriors. I didn't see you. Dave, good evening, buddy. How are you? John Callison, formerly of CMU, now of DNR. Looks like you've been doing some fishing. Yeah, he did beat you, didn't he? Not by much, though, Corey. Not by much. Hello, Sal. How are things over on the YouTube side of things? Appreciate you being along with us. Well, you are more than welcome, Sean. Yeah, one of the cooler. Oh, can I do this? I wonder if I can. I hadn't thought about this. Let me just see if I can find some video. It might be a bit much. It might be a. That's not it. I hadn't even thought of this before. Let me take a quick look at exporting some video and see if it's something that I really want to do, or maybe it's just a bit too much. Yeah. Give me just a second here. I should have thought of this before. File, export one video. Boom. Okay. Export. Let me get back into here now. Yes, I want to continue to export the video. Let me go back into my StreamYard. I got so many things going on here. Present video file. There it is. Okay. So it's there. I'll play it for you in a little bit. Hey, Uncle Johnny, how are things up in Bel Air? I understand the golfing has been great. Ed Bolanowski, how are you? Oh, okay. You were over there. You went out the night before. Very understandable, Mike. And you know what? That was a pretty smart move on your part. Yeah, I got speaking of the man himself right there, Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. Ron, it was about 1 week ago exactly right now when I shot that bear. Bernie says, you got your bear? How did I miss that? Bernie, that's a good question. Were you living under a rock? David, good evening. What sounds like too much work? Let her rip, Johnny says. How's the Angler Quest is great. I'm going to be on it tomorrow. Well, here's an interesting thing. Last night, I ran it across from Linwood Beach to the mouth of the Saginaw River, and we, out of nowhere, this freakishly strong southeast wind blew up. Now, when you leave Linwood Beach and you head to the mouth of the Saginaw River, you're going southeast. It was one of the roughest trips on the water I've ever had. Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, Lake Erie. I mean, it was I was glad that I had a 26-foot angler quest underneath me. I didn't post any video of my bear, but what I'm going to do, all right, I'm going to play something and I'm going to tell you right now that it might be a bit intense. So if you've got little ones watching, and Johnny, I know the twins aren't watching tonight. If you've got little ones, you might want to take them aside for about 5 minutes. What this is, if you have bear hunted before, I'll get the brats made by Michigan brand. Nothing the Angler Quest couldn't handle. Yeah, right. But when you're going dead into 4-foot waves and they're spaced really weird so you can't get a rhythm on them, you get beat up and you get soaked. I don't care what kind of a boat it is, but it was an interesting. I haven't, I don't doubt it at all. There's bears all over the place down here. Okay, if you have bear hunted before, you know that one of the most rewarding things that can happen to you is you hear the death moan. Because a death moan means you've got a dead bear. Now, it's very eerie and it's a little intense. So, if you're squeamish about such things, turn away for a couple of minutes here. This is directly after I shot my bear. This video I'm going to show you here. The granddaughter says, "Whack him." I'll tell you the backstory on this bear first, but let me show you the video. And this was especially rewarding because I actually hit him a little bit high, and for a second, 100% on the spring bear hunt, Ron. Excellent. For a second, I was a little bit nervous, and then I heard this. What that is a death moan. That means the bear is dying. That means you made a fatal shot. That means you don't have to go tracking a dead bear through the bush. It means you've got a dead bear. In this case, it was about 5 yards from the bait. Ron St. Louis, right there's the guy. I was hunting with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. He said they were 100% on their springtime hunt. It's pretty impressive. Ron had called me the day before I was supposed to go up there, and he says, "Don't come up." He said, "The fires are making it impossible for me to get hunters out into the bush. In fact, the ministry won't even let me do it." I thought, dang it. But, it is what it is. Ron said, "Have you got any flexibility? Can you come back later?" I said, "I'll do pretty much what it takes to come up there." So I get a call. I think it was just the next day. He said, "Look, at Mother Nature changed. The winds changed. I don't remember what it was, but the town is no longer in jeopardy. The DNR's opened up the bush. I can get hunters out there." So I said, "I'm on the way." So I went up and hunted with Ron, and I don't know. I think this is like 14, 15 years I've been hunting up there, originally with Pete Jones, now with Ron St. Louis. If you're looking for an Ontario bear hunt, if you're looking for a Canadian bear hunt, I cannot recommend Ron strongly enough. And I didn't even get the beginning of it, Johnny. There was 2 more before that. It's the longest death moan I've ever heard. Johnny says, "Whoa." It is crazy to hear. Good evening, Barry. Jim said he's never heard that before. How long before I walked up on it? Immediately, because I knew it was dead. All right, let's do it again. Since this isn't freaking you out, let's do it again. Oh, that's the end of it. Let me play it again. It's an eerie sound. It's a freaky sound, but it's a sound every bear hunter wants to hear. It means you got a dead bear. Kevin says, "How long before you waited to walk up on it?" Right away. I knew it was dead, so I walked up on it right away. Good evening, Eric. How are you? How about the actual shot? I haven't even looked for it yet, Brian. It was on my Tacticam, and the Tacticam started buzzing real crazy just before that. So I think my Tacticam card was actually full. So I don't think I got the shot, but I will look for it when I get a minute here. It is eerie. Joe says that is wild. Where is the bear now? What's it like to get him back in warmer weather? The bear now is in Bay City. I'll show you something else. Bay City, at Michigan brand meats being made into bear brats. Let me show you another video. You talk about what the hide, what the fur looks like in the springtime. It is, continue. It is crazy beautiful, crazy thick. All right, so let me see if I can do another one, the video file. And there we go. Okay. This is I want to turn the sound down on it. This is, let me get rid of the comment. This is somewhere on the leg of the bear that I shot, but this is what the hide on a springtime bear can look like. Check out how thick and how long and how beautiful this is. Look at that. That is some beautiful springtime Ontario bear fur. I actually gave the hide to a taxidermist buddy of mine, Scott Keatsman of Linwood Taxidermy, because I don't have room for another bear. I took the meat. Making brats out of it. Okay, where's the bear now? I just told you that. Yeah, dead bear, all right. Johnny said he's heard two back to back, but that's amazing. Yeah, it went on for a long time, Johnny. Long time. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? James, Robert, you shot a real nice bear up there too, didn't you? Like 300? I know it is cool. I got them on. Mr. Grillo is a game meat genius. Very thick. Did I have any hot sticks made also? No, I don't think we're going to. Loud moan on yours, definitely eerie. It is definitely very eerie, but very, very cool. Never had bear brats before. How are they? They're outstanding, especially if you put them on the grill. They're very, very good. I don't like a bear roast. I don't like a bear steak, but I love bear brats, and bear burger is pretty darn good too. Do they collect hair for information, age, etc.? No, they collect a tooth. Ron took a tooth out of the animal, and they send it off to the ministry, and they age them. From that, Lee said could make a Sasquatch suit out of that. Hey, Brent, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Mike, appreciate you joining us on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Let me see your computer. Somebody was saying they hadn't seen the picture of. There we go. Let me do another quick export for you. Export one photo. Boom. I think I can do this real quick. You know, I should think through these things ahead of time, right? Slides, your computer, upload from, there we go. Nah, it's not going to let me. It doesn't like it. I don't know why. I was going to show you a picture of the bear. It's not a big bear. The best sound, or where'd we go? The best sound of yours, the one that shoots a bear. If. Yeah, Nick got a bear. Charlie Wiltsey of Primal Outdoors shot a bear. I will have Charlie on the next Primal Outdoors podcast. And there's a lot more coming than that, Gene. What else? Jim says bear and elk are on your list. Matt says, great job, Nick. Good job, Nick. Yeah, Nick shot a nice bear. Charlie shot a nice bear. I shot a bear. Yeah. Yeah. The story on Mad Bear 2, I told you when I went up there, I was not going to hold out for a big bear. It's a boar. It was a boar. I knew it was a boar when I shot it, and I knew it was a smaller bear when I shot it. So it was intentional. You'll hear stories about people saying, I thought it was a 300-pound bear. I thought it was a 250-pound bear, and I walked up on it, and it was 150. There is not an animal that I've ever hunted that has so much ground shrinkage as a black bear. They are very hard to judge. I've shot enough of them and seen enough of them now where I have a little bit of a feel for judging them, and I knew that this bear was a boar, and I knew that it wasn't a big bear. Not one of my biggest bears for sure. Didn't matter. I had told Ron when I went up there, I said, I'm here to take a bear home with me. I'm here to take some meat home with me. And I actually said, anything that doesn't have milk on the mouth, I'm going to shoot. Well, that was kind of an exaggeration, but I don't want to say I intentionally shot a small bear. If I would have had the choice to shoot a bigger bear, I would have. But after 4 long, hard days of hunting, this is the only bear I saw. And I said, okay, he's going to go home with me. That's true, Bernie. Just the hair alone makes it hard to judge the size. Hey, Josh, how you doing, buddy? You been fishing? Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. If you go to my Facebook page and scroll back, or my Instagram feed and scroll back a little bit, you will see the picture of the bear. And it's a good picture. The picture makes it look like a really good bear. And it's a good bear, but the picture makes it look like a really good bear. But I'm absolutely very happy with it. Could not be happier. Let's talk about, and gosh, it's so much fun to be up there. I love going up there. I love sitting out in that Canadian bush. I love, and I saw moose. I saw a bunch of moose. I think we might do some cheese. There's Nick right there. Nick said we had bear meatloaf for dinner tonight. Turned out great. I'm going to fish tomorrow, Josh. My bear right now is at Michigan Brand Meats, or at least, no, Nick, Jerry Stutzman said that it's going to be shipped down to you guys tomorrow. So we can talk tomorrow about what I want to do with it, but it'll be a Bratzenberger for sure. Brian says, congrats, you're on a roll. A turkey, a bear. What's next? A buck? An elk? It won't be an elk. Maybe a buck. I want to shoot a deer this fall. I could care less if it's a buck or a doe. Honestly, I'm so disinterested in deer hunting that but I want to shoot a deer for the meat. And then I will have had a year with a turkey, a bear, and a whitetail. And that Mike brings up a great point. The Thermacell, how heavy was it? I just told you it was a small bear, Jim. Small bear. And I just said the size of it didn't matter. I've shot 2 bears over 300. I've shot several in the 250 to 275 range. You know, the Thermacell was ridiculously valuable. In fact, I took 2 of them up there, Mike, in case one of them failed. And the thing about a Thermacell is, you go out there in the bush, you set up the blind, you get in the blind, and then it's the mosquitoes swarm you. So you're sitting there in the blind, you fire up the Thermacell, and the Thermacell actually drives all the mosquitoes out of the blind. And then it keeps them from coming back in. You can sit there in the blind and watch the mosquitoes come to the window. They smell the Thermacell and they fly back away. Invaluable. 225. It wasn't 225, Johnny. I'll tell you that. Yeah, close. It's 225. 225. It was close enough. Yeah. Somebody said, how big was it? It's big enough. James says, I want to give a shout out to Rapid River Knives for donating some knives to our Trolling with the Troops event next weekend in St. Joe. You mean a Rapid River knife like this? Well, not like this, because this one's mine. You like the picture, Bernie? Yeah, it turned out it's a great picture. Ron St. Louis actually took that picture. Ron knows how to take bear pictures. That's pretty clear. Someone could transfer their elk tag to you. They could. I don't see it happening. Dennis, how are you this evening? Appreciate you being along with us. Okay, what else? Walleye for Warriors last weekend at Linwood Beach. I was out there. I did not fish, but I helped MC the event. It was a great event. However, there were very, very strong northeast winds, and the people who were out there earned the fish they got. It was not a fun day to be on Saginaw Bay. In fact, as I look at the weather forecast, believe it or not, and there's no reason not to believe it, calling for pretty strong northeast winds every day next week. Which kind of, thank you, Scott, appreciate that, which kind of, Scott, you just missed it. I played video of the death moan. The northeast winds could wreak havoc with our Wednesday night live next week. 1 week from right now, we are scheduled to be on Saginaw Bay doing a Wednesday night live from the bay, fishing walleye with Mr. Angler Quest himself, Brad Dupuis, and also with Bob Ransom of Primal Outdoors. I got a feeling that's not going to happen. If the weather forecast is even close to being accurate, that ain't going to happen. Corey said he had fun in the 18-foot nitro. I bet. Corey, going across the bay last night, I had all the water I could handle. I mean, I got beat up pretty bad in the run across the bay last night, and I was absolutely soaked. And I wasn't worried. I wasn't scared, but it was the water was bad enough. If I would have had somebody with me who was not used to being out there, they would have been nervous. All right, Johnny, say hi to everybody at Andy's for me. Dang it, what, Scott? What were we just talking about? Dang it, he says. Dang it. Oh, you want to see it? All right, Scott. Scott says he wants to see it. I'll start it from the beginning again. Okay, this is immediately after I shot my bear. And that's not even all of it. He actually started moaning before I started recording the video, and he continued on after I stopped. Of all the bears I've ever shot, I would say a third of the bears I've shot moaned, but I've never had one moan louder or longer than this one. And it was a good feeling because the shot was actually a little bit high. And I was concerned for about 10 seconds. Can I go back in the fall and get another bear? No. Tim says the drive north along Superior Coast is awesome. The Canadian bush is a must experience. Hard to explain till you get to experience it. And I get to experience it every year, Tim, because I go up there and hunt with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters, northernwildernessbearoutfitters.com. Ron is pretty booked up. But if you really want to hunt with him, get your name in with him now. He's on here right now, or send me a private message or an email, and I'll give you his phone number. Nothing like a loud death moan. It's pretty cool. Let me tell you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week. First of all, Bill Hahn of Jay's Sporting Goods joins me. And you know, one of the things we're talking about with Bill, Primal Outdoors products are now at Jay's Sporting Goods in Clare and Gaylord. They didn't used to be. Primal Outdoors, makers of the Wraith 270 see-through ground blind, my go-to favorite ground blind. The Wraith is actually being replaced with the Vision 270 ground blind. It has a different camo pattern and it has brush loops. Other than that, it is a Wraith 270. So if you hear me start talking about the Vision, it's an updated version of the Wraith. And then Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives. Oh, did I freeze up? Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives. Let me turn down my quality just here a little bit. Maybe that'll help out. Looks like I'm starting to glitch here a little bit. Okay, am I back? Okay. You do not need points. That's why I love going to Ontario. You buy a tag over the counter, and what was it? $220, something like that. It's really not expensive at all. Do I still get nervous? No, I don't get nervous bear hunting anymore. I used to. I don't get nervous. I get excited. I've never been in a position where a bear has made me nervous. That's not true. There was one when I first started bear hunting in Manitoba that actually put me back up a tree stand. But no, I don't get nervous. I just get excited, but it's a cool excitement. Chris Durson of Rapid River joins me to talk about two new mounts he has in his showroom, including a Boone and Crockett mountain lion he shot in Idaho. It's just another reason to go to Rapid River Showroom. And the second hour of the show, we're talking about bow fishing with Jesse Hurst of the Michigan Bow Fishing Association. Chad Stewart of the Michigan DNR then joins me to talk about the changes in fall deer hunting regulations. And there's something here that took me by surprise. The original proposal that the DNR biologists had put before the NRC was to allow crossbows during the late archery season in the UP, which to me is a no-brainer. You can hunt with a crossbow in the late archery season everywhere else in the state. So why would they not allow it in the UP? It was in the proposal. I thought it went through. Somebody told me today, nope, the NRC rejected it. I have a hard time with that. I got to be honest with you. When paid professional wildlife managers and biologists make recommendations, how does the NRC, and I realize they have the authority, but how does the NRC, without admitting it's a political decision, override the recommendations of the biologists? I don't get that. Then this week's Ask Avery segment, 0 cents. Ed, 0 cents whatsoever. So you got to believe if it's not a biological decision, it's got to be a political decision. And politics, in my opinion, have no place in wildlife management. The Ask Avery segment this week is one that I've been trying to get an answer from for 2 weeks. Answer on for 2 weeks. It involves riparian rights. That is the rights of landowners who own waterfront property. All right, Chris, have a good evening. Good night at work. This particular question revolves around Houghton Lake, but we expanded it beyond Houghton Lake. Last week, I tried to get the question answered, and nobody in the DNR wanted to touch it. I kept at it. I don't want to say pushing it or badgering, but I kept asking the question. And finally, the DNR law enforcement wildlife chief, Dave Shaw himself, joins me on the show this week to talk about riparian rights and why it's so darn confusing. I'll let you listen to the show to hear the answer to that. And in our third hour, we're talking about northern Michigan inland trout and salmon fishing with Jim Chamberlain of Fish with Jim Outfitters, and of course, wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner wraps it all up. This time, you might expect, with a bear recipe. Good evening, Dan. How are you? Appreciate you joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. What else is on my list? Recorded an Angler Quest podcast today. In fact, if you're on the Facebook page, you've probably seen this. And my guest is Scott Hand. Scott is a good friend of mine. I've known Scott forever. In fact, our dads played high school football against each other back in the late 50s. So we had a connection back even before we were born. Good evening, Chris. Appreciate you joining us. And Scott won the first annual Angler Quest Owners Tournament that was held on Saginaw Bay out of Linwood Beach last year. He's my guest on this month's podcast as we talk about the upcoming Angler Quest Owners Tournament, which is July 22nd on Saginaw Bay. If you go to the website, anglerquestpontoons.com, that's anglerquestpontoons.com. I thought you were going, Johnny. You said, I got the evil eye. I got to go. I thought you were already going, Johnny. All right, have a good night, buddy. Johnny's going to find out pretty soon who his bear hunters are. I don't know the dates. Does anybody know? Johnny might if he's still here. What is the date, Ed? What is the date, Nick, when we find out Michigan bear hunters, if you got your tag or not? Coming up. I don't know what the exact date is, though. Hey, Jim, how are you? How you doing? You don't have to call me mister. So tomorrow, I'm finally going to get a chance to 26, Eric says. You wanted to hear the death moon again? Johnny, what's the date when we find out about bear tags? Okay, Johnny, 26. Eric says 26. Johnny says 26. June 26th, one day before my 65th birthday. Aditya, how you doing, buddy? Nice to have you along with us. I look forward to seeing you Saturday. How are things in your world? So I will remember the 26th. That will be easy enough to remember. I saw a Bentley tonight in Midland, Aditya. Got Carter's attention. He's like, do you see that, Grandpa? That's a Bentley. I'm like, what's a Bentley doing in Midland? Okay, so tomorrow I plan on fishing. Looks like the weather's going to be good. I'm fishing with Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats, and we're fishing with another friend of ours who is on here right now, or at least was, Brent James. Going to do a shakedown cruise on the new Angler Quest. The only time I have on the new Angler Quest is running it back and forth across Saginaw Bay. I have not fished out of it yet. So even though it's basically identical to my boat last year, I will feel better if I get one shakedown trip under my belt just to make sure that I know how to fish it, how it's fishing, yada, yada, yada. And boy, my internet connection is really slow now. It's really lagging. 1, 2. Okay, now it's caught up. There we go. In the studio today, my internet connection was so slow that during the beginning of the live feed, I had to turn off my Wi-Fi and switch it over to the cell signal on my phone. Party prepping. Enjoying the perfect weather. Excellent. John says, same date for the elk results. Good evening, John. How are you? Party prepping, hey? 2 parties this weekend, Aditya. Actually, Corey, Charlie came in and he got the air turned on. So it turned out to be blissfully and enjoyingly cool in there today. So I did not have to take my shirt off. Ed says, I bet Nick's good looking short hair could run some of the geese off your pond. I put up the goose barricade, so I'm not worried about it anymore. Was I successful on my bear hunt? John, where have you been? I will just say that is part of that is the leg of the bear that I shot up in White River 1 week ago, exactly right now. Look at how thick and beautiful the springtime hide is on a black bear. I mean, absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I did good. I shot a bear. Why are you getting up at 3 a.m., Scott? You're retired now. You getting up to fish? It's a goose fence. I am getting up to fish, but since I'm walleye fishing, it doesn't matter what time I get out there. So I could get up at 7 o'clock and still be fine. I don't know about slamming them, Brian, but if everything runs fine, my gear is fine. I know I've got reels with old line on them. I know I have reels that are mismatched. I know I have reels that aren't calibrated. I know I have so the wife works. Let her get up. You stay in bed. So I'm asking Nick and Brent to be very patient with me tomorrow. It's a shakedown cruise to see how everything is working out. You've been busy fishing and tying flies. Okay. That's fair enough. That's a good excuse. What else? Oh, Father's Day weekend coming up. If you're, thank you, John. I appreciate that. If your father is still with us in this world, on this earth, amen, brother. I've been married a long time, Scott. I know exactly what you're saying. You're a smart man. With Father's Day coming up this weekend, if your dad is still with you, with us, you're lucky. Take advantage of it. I hope you get a chance to see him, or at least talk to him. My dad is now gone and has been for several years, but it's a good time to think about his memory and the role that fathers in general play in the world today, right? It looks like we're going to get a smoky sunset tonight. The world is screwy right now. It's screwy. I don't know what kind of forces these are. Well, I know what they are. They're evil forces. But you got some crazy politicians. You got some people in authority, some people in power right now, and they're trying to force this weird agenda on us, which is everything bad. And I'm not even going to go into details because I'm not going to open that can of worms, but you can see what's going on, right? I mean, there's just some things that just absolutely are not right. And I believe that it's our role as fathers and dads and granddads to help establish a moral compass in a family with your kids. Help establish a moral compass and teach them what's right and what's wrong and what's acceptable and what's unacceptable and what is good and what is evil. In my opinion, teach them about God, teach them about faith, teach them about the Bible. But we have a role. Isn't that the truth, Jeff? Jeff, look at it. As he gets older, his dad's words and wisdom ring true more and more. Still makes me smile. I remember saying that the older I got, Mike agrees with me, Jim agrees. The older I got, the smarter my dad got. Now he didn't, but the older I got and started to get some smarts of my own, I realized just how smart my dad really was. Because I'll be honest, when I was younger, I questioned a lot of the things he said, which is what younger people do. It's part of the process. You see why Nugent left hunting in Michigan. Lee says, "Amen." I'm right there with you, Scott. Heavenly Father's Day to my dad as well. So, a lot of you are agreeing with me, and I would kind of expect that, right? You. No, it's a Maker's Mark night tonight, or yes. Um, in general, people tend to associate and hang out with and watch and consume content of people that they generally agree with. I'm not saying that you're a sycophant or agree with everything I say, but in general, I guess I kind of expect that all of us here tonight would be on the same page in most cases because we're kind of like-minded, right? We like the outdoors. I think, we share a lot of other interests as well. So I'm not surprised to hear you, a lot of you say that you agree with me on this one. Nate says, and this is true in my house too, my family, my life. His dad was the one to put hunting and fishing into his blood, and for that he's grateful. But it sure does it sure does like my paychecks. Yeah, hunting and fishing likes your paychecks. Jay Sporting Goods likes your paychecks. Joe says he hears me. So anyway, with Father's Day weekend coming up, I hope that you, again, if your dad is still around, you have a chance to talk with him, see him. And if you're a dad, I hope you get a chance to enjoy the weekend, enjoy the day, see your kids, see your grandkids, maybe relax, put your feet up, maybe smoke a cigar, maybe have a beer, maybe fire up some brats on the grill. Whatever it is you want to do, I hope you get a chance to do it. We got a big weekend here. Wedding shower for my daughter and Aditya. Maybe a little bit of a birthday party for my daughter as well. So it's going to be, and Sunday, of course, is Father's Day. So it's going to be a big weekend for a lot of people. I think the weather's going to hold, right? I think I'm not going fishing this weekend, Scott. I mean, I hope a lot of people do who want to. I am fishing tomorrow. Kevin says that craziness. DT says maybe there's a party. That craziness in the world is what keeps you in the woods or on the water. Corey Phillips says his son graduated. Could you say congrats, Aiden? He's listening with me. Aiden Phillips. Congrats on your graduation. You have accomplished a milestone. It won't be the end of your accomplishments. It won't be the end of your challenges. But it is a stepping stone. It is something to be proud of, and it is something to build on. Whether your future continues to include education or life experiences, good for you. Good for you. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. I'm going right to my skinny water. We're going to make a couple passes through the skinny water, and if nothing happens there, I'm going to Callahan. But it'll start in the skinny water. And with these winds the way they are, there could be some fish in there. You are welcome, Corey. Derek, my dad contributed to my interest in firearms mostly, but I will always remember the fishing and hunting trips we had together. Yeah. Yeah, it's for a lot of us, we have our dads to thank for our passion, our interest, our love for the outdoors. In my case, in my family, that's the case too. My granddad hunted and fished. My dad hunted and fished. I hunt and fish. My son James hunts and fishes. My grandkids hunt and fish. So who is that? That's my granddad, my dad, me, my son. That's 5 generations that I personally know of right here in my world. How far is Callahan from my beloved skinny water? 5 miles? I've never measured it, Bill. I guess it depends on where I'm going on Callahan. If it's the tip of the reef, it's going to be farther. If it's just straight east over on Callahan, probably 5 miles, maybe 4. It's just a guess, though. James says, if your dad's not around, get his old guns you have out and give him some love. Go out and shoot him. Guns are designed to be shot. They're not designed to be. Well, I could do a navionics measurement, Corey, but my navionics is on my phone, and I'm using my phone for my camera. But as soon as we get off here, I will measure it with navionics because now I'm curious. Navionics, and it's something else, going back to the Ontario bear hunt before I let you go. We were talking about thermocells earlier and how absolutely invaluable they are. The other thing that I found incredibly valuable, but I didn't mention it, I forgot to mention it on the radio show this week, is the OnX app. OnX. I have used Google Maps up there. I have used Apple Maps up there. I have used, what's the other one? There's another mapping, tracking app that I've used a lot, but I can't think of what it is, and it's on my phone, and I can't get to my phone right now. OnX, far and away the best. OnX allows me to use their maps offline, not Waze, but I use Waze when I'm driving. This is a hunting app, but I can't think. I can see the interface, but I can't think of the name of it. I do like Waze when I'm driving. I just wish Waze would use satellite images instead of that goofy caricature they use. Anyway, OnX was wonderful because you could use the maps offline. They're high quality satellite images. They showed, not hunt stand, nope. They showed every river, every trail, every two track, every lake. Mouth to the slot is 11 miles. I'm not going all the way to the slot, Corey. I don't need to go that far. I know you suggested that earlier, but slots, I just don't like to run that far. And the cool thing about OnX is you can leave yourself a trail. So when Ron takes you out to a bait or, that I haven't been out to before, I click a button, it starts to make a trail. When I get there, I save the trail. And so I can use that to get back and forth. I'm a real fan of OnX now. I have fallen in love with OnX. The images are great. The tracking, the tracks are great. And when you get down here where there's more property lines, it shows those. Big fan. Big fan. What is that? I wonder if I did. How am I going to know what that is? Now I'm curious. I don't see it. And it's kind of an old one, and it doesn't really matter now because I've actually replaced it with OnX. All right, my friends, I think it's time to wrap this thing up. I think it's time to put a base map as another. Oh, thank you. Yes. How did OnX works well for hunting public land? Never get lost again with that in your pocket. Yeah. So a lot of you like the OnX. Thank you, Steve, for bringing this up. How did I like the Rec 4-blade fixed blade head? Love it. That's going to be my go-to head from now on. I shot my turkey with it. I shot my bear with it, and I absolutely love it. And that's going to be my go-to head. The Rec FX4 is my head, my broadhead. That's what I like. Mark asked me something else. Where'd you go, Mark? Free version or paid? I didn't know they had a free version of OnX. I'm sure I'm using the paid version, but it's not very much. What a hole. It wasn't that big of a hole. I mean, the bear went 5 yards. Okay. So I guess my shot wasn't that bad. It went 5 yards. That's why you hear the death moan so loud. But the Rec FX4 is the one that I will be using from now on. All right, my friends, you know what we need to do now, don't you? To kind of kick this thing off here now. You know what that music means. That means Maker's Mark. It does. I got to go put some gas in the car. And then we're going to call it a night. All right, my friends, I appreciate you joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Have a good night. Have a great Father's Day. I will post some pictures tomorrow from the water. Wish me luck. I haven't been out yet. I will give you a fishing report, Craig. Appreciate you, my friends. Thanks for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. The website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. The email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. And we will see if we can get out on Saginaw Bay for that Wednesday Night Live with Brad Dupuis and Bob Ransom next week. Mother Nature will make the deciding call, as she always does. Appreciate you joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night.